Speaking of tweeds, Sean is wondering about tweeds. How popular are they? And are there types of tweeds that tend to be used more than others?
How popular are tweeds? I'm assuming for kilts.
Tweed kilts, yes.
Yes. Okay. You're in production more. You see a lot more. Ian, we can even probably bring you in for this because you're down in the store now.
He writes the orders.
Yeah, he writes the orders. Tweeds that are popular now. Let's start with ignoring the fact the trend of tartan tweeds that has kind of blossomed in the last couple years. But tweeds for kilts.
Okay.
Have you noticed any trends within it?
We're seeing a big spike from a year ago in the Old Scotland tweed. A lot more orders than we had last year for that.
Old Scotland
The one that
tweed.
I'm working on.
Well,
brand new. Didn't exist last year. That's why there's a big surge.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying let's leave the tartans off for now.
Okay, gotcha.
And start with the regular tweeds.
Okay.
He pays attention very well.
Yes.
He listens.
Yes.
Yeah, but do you like window pane or window check or like this kind of thing versus that's similar. Versus something that's a little like a herringbone or just like a Donegal tweed. What have we noticed?
I was gonna say right now we're getting a lot of blues in. Blues seem to be I've got like a darker kind of like the Loman blue right now. Susie's finishing up.
Okay.
There's a Love It blue I have for next week. We just did a Love It green recently. And a Love It green shawl. But yeah, Love It. I'd say the blues seem to be the trend right now. Greens were kind of stopped, and now the blues have taken over.
Okay. The one I'm really like, oh, man, I haven't seen many of those, and it's probably because we don't have them on the website. Is like the country checks. So there's like a bunch of different,
Gotcha.
smaller bands going across it. I'm surprised we don't get more of them for people coming into the store, kind of thing. But we don't have it on the website, so not a lot because it says it's not as popular a choice for jackets or vests.
We just had a guy not that long ago He ordered 3 tweeds, all window panes. All one of them pleated a little bit different. Like typically with tweeds, especially if you're getting a jacket, it's taken a different way off the bolt. So there's we have to do a lot more work with the tweeds, especially even with window panes, because now we're taking, instead the bolt is run this way, we have to take strips of cloth vertically and then hem it, going back to the previous discussion there. But they wanted it done to a particular stripe in that window pane, so we actually could take it normally like we would across the bolt. So hopefully, if he gets a jacket, it'll all work out.
Yeah,
I don't know if he did, but
yeah.
he just ordered 3 tartan tweeds or window pane tweeds. But yeah, he got 3 of them, and so one is in stock. We just did the one. The other 2 are on their way eventually here.
Nice. Now, when it comes to tweeds with window panes like this, if you actually look at the tartan the tweed that I have on, the stripes. Oftentimes on a tweed, the vertical stripes are a different color than the horizontal stripes. Typically, yours are not.
Mine are
typically, when I order a tweed, I don't like that as much. I like them, horizontal and vertical to be about the same. Now, if you look at the ones that I'm wearing right now, it is horizontal, or it is a tall, skinny box. It is not a perfect square. It's a tall, skinny box versus a short, wide box. So when you're making clothing, generally speaking, when you're making pants or a jacket or a vest or whatever, when you lay out the patterns on the bolt of cloth, you're laying them out across this way. So this vest, take it on me, turn it 90 degrees. This is how you're cutting out the pieces. You're not cutting them across the bolt. So if you're going to make a kilt from the same fabric, you have to make sure you're cutting the chunks up the bolt, because you're not able to get a nice big long piece like you would when you're doing a regular tartan kilt. So what ends up happening is, you have to cut, let's say, 3 sections up and then splice them end to end, and that's how you do it. However, you now have cut edges on what is now the bottom edge of the kilt. So then you have to serge that and actually hem that. So a lot of tweed kilts are actually hemmed. And there's a couple more splices involved in it.
Yeah, even the ones that don't have window pane, there's a herringbone twill in it. So you have that. You still have to do it that way for that weave, because again, if they're getting a jacket and vest with that, that's how the jacket and vest are going to be done, with that herringbone going a particular way.
Yep.
So we have to be conscious about that every time we do one, to go, all right, did they get this? Well, they might have this, so we still have to go this way.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot more to it than you actually realize. Now, one thing that we've seen over the last few years is an emergence in tweed tartans. I've seen, I won't say it started with, but I noticed it first from a lot of the mills out in the Hebrides, like small individual, crofters, people who actually have a loom in their house, like Harris Tweed, type companies, were doing tartan tweeds. They've been doing tartans, but generally they're just like kind of fashiony designs, for the fashion industry, not honest to God tartans. And then I saw a couple of them start doing Blackwatch and maybe Buchanan and a couple others. And then it kind of took off a little bit. And then some of the larger mills noticed that, Loch Heron has done it, House of Edgar's not really tweed. They've done their Hebridean range. Martin Mills has done some. So they started noticing that, like, hey, people are looking for that kind of stuff. And the weathered tartans, like, I think there's multiple things at play. The weathered tartans, the earthy kind of feel, have kind of become more popular. And tweeds have that texture look to them. So it kind of inspired them to go, hey, what if we, kind of combine this or did this in a slightly different way, just to add a little spice, a little something different, a little je ne sais quoi to the tartan industry. So I know Loch Heron started doing it, and then Martin Mills offered a range as well. And they've proven kind of popular.
Now, I'd be curious to know, and maybe you might have some more insight of this, like you started seeing like the tartan tweeds, like I've seen Blackwatch in modern suits and like modern suit jackets and that type of. So wonder if that started first and kind of backfiltered in a way, where
in tweed in suits.
Yeah.
Okay. I did not really see that. I didn't, but I'm not looking at suits generally speaking. I'm looking at kilts. It may. Yeah, I could see that. Or more to the point, well, they probably came from, Harris Tweed and that kind of thing.
That very well could
be.
be.
The point. Or even if it's just blazers, not necessarily a full suit, but just like the jackets and things like that. I could see that kind of carrying over. But, the mills, God bless them. The, Loch Heron, House of Edgar, Martin Mills, all of them, try different things, and that's what kind of keeps the industry fresh and keeps it moving forward, is trying different things and seeing what happens. So it's innovation. It's doing things. It's a different twist on it. It may be, I do not know this to be true, but it may be, fashion houses. It's like Vivienne Westwood says, hey, I want, a Bruce Canard, pink tweed, to make purses out of, or to do this out of, or whatever. So it's people coming up with different ideas within it that keeps it fresh, that keeps it moving, that also allows at the same time the heritage stuff to stay there and maintain and be the common thread within it. And be viable as an income and as a source of stuff for people to still order. But you need the contemporary stuff and the new ways to think about stuff to kind of work hand in hand with it. So you need the new to support the old, and then you need the old and the tradition to support the new in different ways.
Now, do you think this will be kind of like a trend, like the solid black or the black shadow type thing, where that kind of went up and spiked and then just kind of teetered down? Or?
Yeah, I think this has a bit more staying power. I agree it's a trend, but I think there's a bit more staying power because you're just combining two traditional Scottish things or cloths, between the tweed and the tartan. So the black, the black shadow tartans, or navy, or there's a few different colors that they did. Those were just a bit of a shtick. It's something fun. This is fun, but has other utilitarian type uses across different industries. And it's it's something different, and it's fun, but at the same time, it still draws on the tradition. So, and I could see it being used across different things. So, I think it has more staying power than the Black Shadow tartans. You?
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it too. Yeah.
I thought I taught tweed kilt. I did.